One of the things that is becoming abundantly clear is that organizations around the world are starting to rely more heavily on data and algorithms to make decisions. But is this always a good thing? In her book, Weapons of Math Destruction, Cathy O'Neil tells a very interesting story about the school district in Washington, D.C. Now, this particular school district decided to run an algorithm where they inputted data to try to determine who were the lowest performing teachers in that school district. And so they fed in the data, they created this algorithm, and the algorithm identified around 200 teachers who were low performing teachers and were thus let go. Now, one of these particular teachers, her name was Susan. She was very shocked by this because she received rave reviews from her students, from the teachers, the principal loved her, everybody loved her. And so she was very shocked that she was identified as being one of the lowest performing teachers in this school district. So how did this happen? It turns out that the students that came into her class, at the previous school where these students came from, there was a high incidence level of cheating. And what would happen is during standardized tests, the teachers would take all of the tests that the students filled out, and they would erase the wrong answers that the students put in, and they would fill in the correct ones. Now, those teachers did this because they were interested in self-preservation. They wanted to make themselves look good, and so they cheated by artificially inflating the scores of those students. And so what happened is once these students left that school and joined the other school where Susan taught, again the standardized tests were given, and all of a sudden the scores of all of these students plummeted. And so the rational conclusion was made that clearly Susan is a bad teacher, because these students all had great scores at their previous school, and now they all have such terrible scores. And that's a great story to help us understand why it is important for us to realize that we still need a human aspect when it comes to making decisions. The algorithms that we create and the data that we generate and input still very much relies on a human component. Humans make mistakes. And so we can't simply rely on algorithms, we can't simply rely on data to make all of these decisions for us. We have to take a step back and bring in that human perspective and understand why something is the way it is. So data and all that sort of stuff is important, but let's not forget about the human aspect when it comes to decision making.